Something unusual is brewing for the season opener, an atmosphere far from home, a stage that carries both excitement and tension, and storylines that twist before the first snap. A key piece of the offense won't even take the field, a defender is traveling but may be too limited to make an impact, and the opponent arrives with a new identity built on brute force and relentless ground attacks. Add to that a shuffled protection on the other sideline and a secondary already showing cracks, and you've got a matchup that feels less like week one and more like a playoff chess game. Every drive, every adjustment, and every mistake could swing momentum in ways nobody expects, and that's why this opener already feels like one of the most important games of the year. But before I tell you everything, make sure to click the like button and tell me in the comments, what are your expectations for this confrontation? You saw the itinerary. The Kansas City Chiefs are opening the season in Sao Paulo, and everything you're about to hear matters the second toe hits leather. Here's the headline that should make your ears perk up. Rookie wideout Jalen Royals did not travel, knee tendinitis, and promising defensive tackle Omari Norman-Lott made the trip but remains truly questionable with that lingering ankle. That's not rumor mill static. That's straight from the team's own run-up to this game. And it changes how we frame the first 60 minutes of 2025 football for Patrick Mahomes and company. If you want to know how Kansas City walks out of Brazil 1-0, start right here. Who replaces the missing snaps, who wins at the line of scrimmage, and who becomes the I-got-you target when the pocket gets muddy. Let's attack the trenches first because that's where Jim Harbaugh wants to drag this game. Muddy, mean, decided 3 yards at a time. The Chargers under Harbaugh will hammer the ground game until you tap out. The formula from last year was blatant. When they pushed north of 130 rushing yards, the scoreboard tilted in their favor, hold them down, and they turned one-dimensional, asking Justin Herbert to throw into loaded looks and late rotating safeties. That is exactly where Steve Spagnuolo wants them, predictable, compressed, and under duress. The entry point for Kansas City: win early downs with Derek Nady anchoring, let Chris Jones dictate double teams, and give George Karlaftis permission to squeeze edges like a vice. With Norman-Lott likely limited, snap-to-snap discipline matters more than flashy TFLs. This is about resets, hand placement, and smart fits that force 2 ND and 8 instead of 2 ND and 5. Now combine that plan with a pressure point on Los Angeles' protection. Rashawn Slater, their best lineman, one of the NFL's true franchise left tackles, is out for the year with a patella tendon tear per the Chargers' own camp chatter captured in this preview. They've shuffled Joe Alt to the left side, which is a huge assignment swing, and the right edge remains the spot to probe. Trey Pipkins 3 has had uneven tape, and Spags knows how to make an average right tackle play below average, widen the front, threaten with simulated pressure, mug the A-gaps to freeze the slide, then bring a slot or safety late right into the B-gap window. If Kansas City consistently wins that right side math, Herbert's internal clock speeds up, the run script phrase, and suddenly third downs are built for nickel, not heavy. Of course, Harbaugh will counter by leaning on his premier route runner to stabilize the passing game. Enter Ladd McConkey, spelled correctly because this matters to us, whose rookie line last year was the definition of instant impact: 124 targets, 91 catches, 300 yards, 8 scores. That's the heartbeat throw for Herbert: option routes, quick crossers, deep over with free access. The antidote? Make Trent McDuffie the shadow and live with that choice. McDuffie's change of direction and feel for leverage are elite. He can sit in McConkey's hip, disrupt timing, and still rally to tackles when the Chargers use stack releases to free him. The addition of Christian Fulton lets Kansas City keep outside integrity while McDuffie goes where the danger lives. Spags can then spin post-snap, roll late safety help to the crosser window, flood the middle with robber looks, and dare Herbert to push throws to secondary options. Do that for 4 quarters and those easy stay-on-schedule balls disappear. All of that buys the Chiefs' offense a little grace as it figures out who becomes the interim star until Rashee Rice returns from suspension. Xavier Worthy is the first name in neon. Last year he touched the ball nearly 60 times as a receiver, rolled past 700 total yards, and found the end zone 9 times thanks to both gadget touches and true routes. That was step 1. Step 2 is going from fun constraint to real number 1, the kind of receiver who wins on 3rd and 6 when everyone in the stadium knows where the ball is headed. The blueprint is there: pair Worthy speed with motion to defeat press, stack releases to win leverage instead of bodying corners, and give Mahomes isolation shots when safeties are tilted to Travis Kelce. If Worthy turns 3 of those into drive-sustaining plays, the entire field geometry changes. But Kansas City needs redundancy, not just a single spark. Marquise Hollywood Brown, 28, healthy, and very comfortable in high-octane offenses, has already shown what he can be with an elite quarterback, 90-plus grabs, 1,000 yards, chain-moving urgency. He's the intermediate crosser that punishes bracketed Kelsey looks and the quick hitter on RPO slants that become catch and runs when linebackers bite the run fit. Then there's Tyquan Thornton, a burner whose New England years were a lot of almosts. In this system, his speed finally gets a fair math problem. If defenses spin to Worthy, Thornton gets single coverage on the far hash. Mahomes doesn't need him to be Tyreek. He needs him to win 3 go balls this month and make safeties back up 6 feet. Circle back to the injury sheet and the opponent's health because it ties the knot on the plan. No Royals? That's a missed layer of speed and a red zone arrow, absolutely. A limited Norman lot? That compresses the defensive line rotation in a game that will be punch after punch between the tackles. On the other sideline, if Elijah Molden can't go, a thin Chargers secondary gets thinner, and that's when Andy Reid starts stacking concepts for verts from a bunch look, switch releases with Worthy as the point, Hollywood pivot out underneath. And if McConkey is the engine for LA, then make the rest of the roster prove it can win small window throws on second read. It's that simple, that ruthless. Your move, Chiefs Kingdom. With Royals sidelined and Norman Lott iffy, which receiver do you trust to seize the spotlight in Sao Paulo, Worthy, Hollywood, or Thornton? Drop your pick and your why in the comments right now. And here's where the narrative sharpens. Travis Kelce remains the gravitational force every defensive coordinator circles in red ink, but his value on Sunday isn't just measured in catches. It's in how often he bends coverage. Harbaugh knows he can't let Mahomes and Kelce carve the middle of the field, so expect robber safeties, bracket shells, linebackers bumping Kelce at the release. That's fine. Because every double on Kelce is one less resource tilted toward the burners outside. That's Andy Reid's chessboard, and that's why the absence of Rashee Rice, while big, doesn't collapse the plan, it just accelerates the audition for Worthy, Hollywood, and Thornton to prove they can cash in those one-on-one chances. Now pivot to Mahomes himself. Brazil is at Arrowhead. It isn't the familiar cadence of the kingdom roaring on third down. It's neutral turf, it's travel legs, it's new air. Mahomes has always been the player who turns chaos into rhythm, and this game sets up as another test. The protection won't be flawless, the timing with new receivers won't be perfect, but his ability to extend plays, reset his platform, and throw daggers outside the structure is what keeps Kansas City immune to trap games. If the defense holds serve against the run and if McDuffie keeps McConkey honest, all it takes is 3 or 4 Mahomes moments to tilt the outcome. That's the pulse going into kickoff. Not just a season opener, but a tone setter in a foreign stadium, with new weapons auditioning for trust and a rival coached by a man who wants to drag the Chiefs into the mud. It's speed versus smash mouth, it's Mahomes magic versus Harbaugh grit, and it's a chance to plant the kingdom's flag in Sao Paulo before the rest of the league even warms up. So let's settle this, Chiefs Kingdom. Who do you believe steps up first? Worthy exploding for a statement game, Hollywood reminding the league he's a 1,000-yard player, or Thornton shocking everyone with a deep strike? Fire off your takes in the comments, and let's see who calls it right before the ball flies. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to the channel to stay well informed. Go Chiefs!